All right. What's up, guys? Jordan from Bennett's Customs. We are back on another episode, working on the Radial flyer. Today, it's all about getting this entire 3x6, 316 inch and 3/4 exhaust system on the table, purged, welded up, make some mounts, fit it back to this, and get this whole motor back up into the van itself so we can stand back and see what it's going to look like. You guys also be noticed we have a new t-shirt design. Little back and front logo, and if you notice, the font is actually the same font that Craig's designed for our banner that's always hung up and kind of hiding everything up on the pallet racking. This will be available on the website when this video drops. There'll be a link below, as well as we do have a revised early edition of an illustration that I have done, but we've kind of turned it into a back logo and added a little bit of stuff too. So the Snoopy one is going to be out, and it's honestly, it's probably my favorite tee, so make sure you guys check them out. But let's get into the video. All right, so first things first, before we do anything, we do need to make some mounts before I cut that jig off. I have these little rubber sort of exhaust mounts, and they work really nice to be able to make a few tabs off of them in order to kind of, you know, let everything sort of have a little bit of flex in them with the individual pipes.
Snow is crunching underfoot and it's headed towards 30 below. Your coat and hat are covered in frost and you're standing on my front porch looking a little lost. Get on in, cause it's cold outside. Ain't it nice, baby, sitting by my stove? I'll put a cider beside you with some cinnamon and clove. In your cup, if you wanna have some more, you gotta drink the first cup of this, baby. It's cold outside.
So that's one. Probably should have done these in 2 pieces. It's gonna be very tricky to weld this all together. Probably could cut a couple tacks and do one single to the other one. Would make it a little bit easier. That guy's basically gonna have to live in there because these are together. Almost need to do a female rubber with 2 bits in there so you can slide it up in. That male end on there, once this is all welded, that kind of almost has to stay there. All right, one thing I've just decided I'm gonna do as well, I'm gonna throw a V-band right in here. I just measured it on the motor itself. It's not gonna, complicate anything or come into contact with anything. It's purely just so that I can, I don't really have to, but it would be nice to remove this pipe so that I can weld them individually and then put them back together. But as well, kind of mounting them and just having a little bit of that sort of play with getting, our bushings and stuff in there. It would be kind of nice just to have that access to just be able to have it in a couple different pieces. Gently trim our tacks. So where I had that part of the jig come across and tacked here, I just want to make sure that I'm going to blend all these in. So on this one, you can see I've actually just kissed it with the grinder. So I'm just going to put a little bit of filler in there and then we'll blend all this out. And then I'll use the red Scotch-Brite on the bench grinder after and we'll just clean those up so you don't see them, because underneath when we look at this, you don't want to have any of these little imperfections. I'm just using the little finger grinder just to take off the tack. And then I will just blend it out using our little technique with our square piece on the little 90-degree air grinder. So I'm just gonna add a little bit here. So before I put it on the red Scotch-Brite wheel, I am just going to use our little 90-degree air grinder. And you can see I already have a 60 on there that's got the square. I got some old 120s. I just found this new one in there. It'll do. I'll just sacrifice it. But you guys have seen me do this lots. If you haven't, it's a great little technique for blending. It works incredible. And I cannot take credit for this. I saw Jason Ferris do it. He had a little tech tip once a couple of years ago, and I swear it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and I use it almost every day. So now you have your little soft interface on there, and it just has these little corners that are gonna make contact, but because they flex, you don't have that round disc that's got that edge on it that can dig in. So if you watch me do this, you're not really pushing too hard either. You're kind of just letting that sanding disc do the work, you know, and because you can see how like it's not a lot of pressure to sort of bend that out. So if that's spinning and you're kind of there, it's just lightly removing material where you want it. So it's not going to dig too much out or create lots of flat spots. And you can see that it is completely gone. The big thing is I need to do that in order to weld is setting up our little sort of poor man's purge line, I'll call it. And I've just learned this from Fabrication Series. He's such an amazing dude and very like just weld on savvy, just knows absolutely everything. He's a wealth of knowledge. But I don't have a dual regulator. I also don't have the purge kit setup that most people have. I usually just use alley foil or aluminum foil and, you know, plug out both ends and purge it that way. So that's basically what I've done. I ran down to the hardware store. I got some brass fittings, and with these brass fittings and a ball valve, I can connect this to our regulator, and that way we can still run a hose off of 2Us for our purging. So I'm just gonna stick this on, and if you wanna learn a little bit more about the exact sizes and parts that are used, we'll definitely put the link below of the Fabrication Series, and he does call it sort of the poor man's purge kit. So you can run through, it's like a 10-minute video. He explains it very well, and you'll be able to make your own at home. All right, so we got our line for our purging set up with some aluminum foil in the end and a little bit with a nice, not a big hole, just a small hole, enough to sort of, and you can kind of just feel it. Another good way to know that you have all the oxygen out and it is filled with argon is you can use a lighter and it sort of snuffs it out really quickly. That's another really good test. But yeah, there's definitely kind of a science to it. I won't get crazy into depth with it. If you do want to learn how to do back purging, there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube that will explain it far better than I can. All my seams ready to go. Everything's clean, everything's wiped down. And I've been playing around with pulse settings. I never really like using pulse. I kind of just more or less use it on my foot. But you know, it's always kind of nice to try different ideas. But yeah, basically I'm just going to start from one end to the other. Obviously making sure that I explain it lots, but making sure you're really comfortable and almost doing sort of like a test run to know that you can get a nice pass and you're free. You can get that filler rod in there where you need it. Give me another coffee.
If I have one.
You can see these two are really, really good, whereas the back of this one has a slight bit of a gap where I will obviously use filler. Looking pretty good. Could probably speed up the pulse a little bit. It's only on 1.2 seconds. I just have like these blocks, they kind of just hold stuff from moving around. This one I'll usually rest my hand on, or my other one if I'm adding filler. Obviously just letting that torch sit there for the shield gas on the post flow. I run it about 3 seconds, sometimes less, sometimes more. But I'm no pro stainless welder, you know, so I kind of just do what's comfortable with me. And I know I'm getting good penetration, everything's clean. Murdoch, take a drink. Yeah. Yeah.
Down to Memphis town, that's where the people smile on you all the while. Hospitality, they were good to me. I couldn't spend a dime and had the grandest time. I went out a dancing with a Tennessee deer. They had a fella there named Handy with a band you could hear. And while the white folks gently swayed, all them darkies played real harmony. I never will forget the tune that Handy called the Memphis Blues. Oh, the blues. They've got a fiddler there that always slickened his hair, and folks he sure do pull some bow. And when the big bassoon seconds to the trombone crew, it moans just like a sinner on revival day. That melancholy strain, that ever-haunting refrain, is like a darky sorrow song. Here comes the very part that wraps a spell around my heart. It sets me wild to hear that loving tune again, the Memphis Blues. They've got a fiddler there that always slickens his hair, and folks he sure do pull some bow. And when the big bassoon seconds to the trombone crew, it moans just like a sinner on revival day. That melancholy strain, that ever-haunting refrain, is like a darky sorrow song. Here comes the very part that wraps a spell around my heart. It sets me wild to hear that loving tune again, the Memphis Blues.
Last weld. Finished. That was a lot of welding, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think it looks really nice. Everything's quite clean. All the welds are good. Lots of penetration. Purge welding it. I lucked out. Definitely inside have got some really nice, you know, kind of burn through, I guess you'd call it, on the other side. Now is probably time to install it on the motor. And then we can stand back, have a look at it, and then we'll get it in the hole of the combi van. First piece of the puzzle. Let's get it on. Is wonder how you want these to sit. Probably that way. I'm happy we put that extra V-band in there. I think that's going to be a big savior. I think when we get it in the van, it's going to be really neat, but you get the idea of what I was trying to create. The end result, I'm definitely very pleased with it. It looks really good. Really good. That was a lot of work too, but you know, why not? I think someone commented, you know, just if it was just a standard 3 exhaust into a muffler would have been amazing, and totally right. Would have been a really neat setup, but I think taking this to that little extra step, I'm really pleased with how it's come out. And I think, you know, I still have to do the provisions underneath so we can slide in some little mufflers, and that will obviously help with the noise. And then, you know, getting it ceramic coated is going to help significantly with heat distribution. But it's just, you know, it's different. It's crazy. It's cool. I like that stuff. So I think what we'll do now is get everything set up and do a little switcheroo on the hoist, and then try and get this thing back in the hole for a little look, and then we can, you know, continue with the next part of the list. One quick one too. I saw Carl using one of these, and when he was over here we were talking about it, so I ordered one. And it's like a little chamfering tool, or like basically a router bit for steel. And it was $50 online. I purchased it. It feels relatively robust. I mean, for a $50 tool, it's probably feels, you know, it is what it is for $50. But it uses the little bits that you would use as your cutting bits on the lathe. And it works insanely well and fast. I had it on like a pretty deep setting, and I was able to go right around this whole edge, and it literally, I mean, it's machine done. It just looks perfect. It's pretty wild. So highly suggest getting one of these things. It's crazy how fast it works, and for $50, you really can't go wrong to just throw it in your top drawer with everything else when you want to use it. So. Back to your home. Back to your home.
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home?
Just slide in your home. Just go in your home.
Today, Junior?
All right. that was a lot of fun. Massive challenge, as I've mentioned, but kind of the overall final result was definitely worth all of it. And I cannot wait to hear it. It's going to be very loud, but as I mentioned, we will have the little provisions for running a couple of mufflers on the inside of the pipes, which will definitely take a bit of the sting out of it. But yeah, I think that was really cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, learned a little bit. And you know, next step forward on this van will be trying to get the custom radiator mounted between the frame rails, plumbing for that, shroud for it, mounting the fans, creating sort of an air scoop to pick up air obviously from underneath. And yeah, this is water cooled, just confirming. There has been lots of comments about how we're gonna kind of keep it cool, and having this back trunk lid or engine sort of cover will be all louvered as well. So that'll sort of help get that heat out of there. So it's gonna be really neat. There's a lot of, you know, a lot more really fun fab stuff to do on this thing, and you know, just creating a pretty original split window with a very wild radial airplane motor in it. So it's very cool. Anyways, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit notifications, and we will see you next week on another episode. Spoiler alert, I think we might be working on the midnight special. We're getting that thing, the final touches, motor dialed in, and all the like really nice little bits that we've done that you guys haven't seen yet. And we've kind of given it a new facelift, and it's going to be for sale. So we're going to finish all those bits off, take some photos, and then boom, it's advertised, and it's going to be off to a new home. So hopefully they enjoy it as much as we did. Anyways, enjoy. See you next week. No!
Yeah, I told him that, he just doesn't remember.
He does, he did.
Yeah,
I remember.
it looks like it looks like a train. But what we're going to do is just something less abrupt, and it's going to be like a little tiny reverse curve. We're going to still be able to see the wood on the steering wheel, and I think it's just going to add a little bit of something, because now there's a little bit more brass on it. And it's just going to be special, you know? It's going to be special.
How can we age it? We need to age it a little bit.
I don't know what he's talking about. I don't think it should be aged at all.
Okay.
Everything's shiny. He polished the grill. Polished louvers. You want to age the brass?
I did.
Okay, well, it's his car.
I think we know.
In my opinion, it probably doesn't matter, so I'm just going to make it.